Alright guys, today was the big day for the Six Flags Fiesta Texas announcement for their 2022 attraction. And in my opinion, it did not disappoint because Six Flags Fiesta Texas is receiving a B&M Dive Coaster for their 30th anniversary in 2022. First off, before we get into any analysis or anything like that, I just like to give a shout out to the park themselves for coming up with a great announcement presentation. This was probably the best thing I've ever seen from Six Flags in announcements. I know those videos were really cool back in the day, but I really like this. I thought they knocked it out of the park with this. Secondly, I just got done watching the announcement videos. This is all unscripted and just my first initial thoughts from seeing this ride and the whole presentation and all that stuff. So anything I say is really fresh and I just came up with it on the spot. For now, it doesn't look like we'll be getting a Six Flags announcement video for this season, but it does look like Six Flags will be announcing some other parks rides on a park by park basis. I personally really like that because it makes the chain feel less corporate and just makes it more personal. With that out of the way, let's talk about some of the things about this particular announcement. Six Flags Fiesta Texas has been teasing this edition for what feels like months now, and I thought they did an excellent job presenting the announcement with all the sorts of theming and character appearances. It was just really cool overall. It was very entertaining and very suspenseful, and I was very impressed with how it went over, so bravo to Six Flags Fiesta Texas. Now, the name of this coaster is actually Dr. Diabolical'S Cliffhanger, which a lot of you probably know by now, but I actually really like the theme that they're going with, the Scream Punk theme. I just find the menacing theme to be really cool. I think it's going to scare the GP. And I really love the effort they're putting into getting ready for this ride with Poltergeist getting repainted and redone. And this just gets me even more excited for future Six Flags announcements for things like this. But this is definitely really awesome. But anyways, today I'll be analyzing this coaster and I'll also be analyzing the theme as well and what this could possibly mean for the Six Flags chain. Especially with this being one of the first attractions influenced by Mike Spanos. So I'll be talking about all that and more in today's video. But before we get into all of that, make sure to do me a huge favor by liking this video, as that is the easiest way to help out the channel, and subscribe to this channel for more analysis content on new rides coming very soon. Now that being said, let's dive straight into this video. First, let's talk about the theme of this coaster. The park released a description of the theme of this coaster, so I'm going to read that off right now. Dr. Diabolical proclaims to have an elixir from the fountain of youth that is capable of preserving life. She lures unsuspecting visitors to partake, but little do they know she is using them to fulfill her evil plan to frighten the world with her menacing creatures. Dr. Diabolical built a machine to harvest the essence of human adrenaline and fear in order to nourish her creatures. This machine is called Dr. Diabolical'S Cliffhanger. This then trickles into the ride description, which showcases some of the stats of this coaster. The device has 3 21-passenger trains to lift riders 150 feet in the air. One thing to note immediately is that there'll be 7 seats per row, and there will be 3 of those rows, so that means 3 times 7 equals 21. Continuing on after that, then locks them in a face-first cliffhanger hold just before dropping them down a 95-degree beyond vertical drop at 16 miles per hour. The machine travels on 2,501 feet of track through an Illman inversion, a 270-degree zero-G roll, a 75-foot near vertical drop, a wild bank turn, an extreme airtime hill, and a high-speed spiral finale. Once you are exposed to this menacing machine, you shall live forever in fear. Now let's take a look at the POV and do an analysis of the layout. The quote-unquote gates of fear open as the train exits the station, which was one of the references used in a teaser, and the train sort of turns into the lift hill, which is a slight bit odd, but nothing crazy. Also, before we go any further, I'd like to note that these trains are floorless like the other newer B&M Dive Coasters, and it will have vest restraints from the animations, or at least that's what it's showing, and I definitely expect it to have vest restraints because all the newer B&M B&M seem to have them. It'll then climb up the lift hill, but as we're going to the lift hill, I just like to discuss the color scheme of this coaster. I'm not the biggest fan of the yellow supports, but I think the actual color scheme of the track has that menacing, maniacal feel. So I actually do kind of like the color scheme, and I'm not a massive fan of the support color scheme. Anyways, you'll approach the 95-degree drop, which is the steepest drop on a dive coaster because Six Flags had to get some sort of record with this. I know being hung over the drop isn't that thrilling to seasoned coaster enthusiasts, but I think it'll be a pretty cool sensation for the GP who haven't experienced anything like this. Anyways, I expect this to be a pretty standard dive coaster drop. I don't really think the extra 5 degrees will make that big of a difference, but I think it'll be pretty cool just to say that. I think there'll be good airtime in the back row, but if you've ridden a dive coaster, I think you should know exactly what to expect from this. Now, the pullout into the element is actually very tight and should be pretty forceful. Probably will give you some good positives, but that'll unfortunately staple you. But this is another element you can find on many other dive coasters. I find these kind of inversions to be actually really intense. I know a lot of other people don't really seem to find them as good as I do, but I think they're pretty intense and they're pretty enjoyable. I gray out sometimes on them as well, so I can't really complain there. You'll then go into a little dip and step up into a 270-degree roll. Valorant features the same element and it's awesome. This should be a great element and you'll get some fun hang time from this. And then you'll step up into the mid-course brake run. Unfortunately, it does look like it'll slow the train down quite a bit, but that's kind of typical on B&M dive coasters, especially since they kind of make the second drop a big feature. But speaking of that second drop, it should be pretty fun, especially in the back row, and should give you a pop of airtime if you can feel it through the restraints. I think this little bank turn after the drop off the mid-course brake run is sort of just a filler element to prepare you for the airtime hill coming up. It sort of just mopes around like a really slow helix or something, and then boom, puts you into an airtime hill. It definitely looks like an ejector moment because of the way the train takes the hill. As the train kind of slowly exits the helix, it kind of just like suddenly pops up there, and it looks like you're gonna be just thrown out of your seat on that. You then go through a drawn out turn and then pop up into the brake run, which may give you some airtime, but I wouldn't really expect too much from this moment. And that'll conclude your ride on Dr. Diabolical'S Cliffhanger. I have ridden all the currently operating dive coasters by B&M in America, and I think this definitely could be a contender for the top spot. Between the 270-degree roll and that extreme ejector airtime hill from what the park is saying, this could be a really solid dive coaster. Either way, I think this coaster will be a smash hit for the park, as B&M dive coasters always seem to be GP favorites, and this will just be a winner all around. Now, the thing that caught me off guard the most with this edition is that they're actually working with B&M. Six Flags has kind of become the budget chain lately, and you wouldn't really expect them to work with B&M in this era. Six Flags has been sticking to the cheaper manufacturers, so this was kind of surprising. However, I think it would be a really cool thing to see this kind of partnership between Six Flags and B&M last beyond this, because I think there's a lot of parks that could benefit from getting a B&M in the Six Flags chain. As we know, Six Flags Fiesta Texas seemed to be the testing ground for a lot of attractions for Six Flags, and this could be the first of multiple dive coasters to come to the chain. I think there's a lot of parks that could benefit from something like this in the Six Flags chain, and I'd be all for them adding more dive coasters to more parks throughout the chain. But overall, I'm really happy with this addition. I'm really happy they didn't go with something cheaper and more gimmicky. I know a dive coaster is gimmicky, and the whole 95 degrees thing is gimmicky, but I think that it's a really good thing that Six Flags is working with B&M again. But I'm really happy with this edition, but I want to know what you guys think about this edition. Were you guys disappointed by this? Are you guys excited about it? Make sure to let me know all those thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more new coaster analysis coming soon. But with all that being said, guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.